My business runs on Instagram. I'm telling you, you're better off without Instagram. He's a tough guy. There is no denying that. Even if, let's say, he's exaggerating everything, but जो उसने वीडियो पे भी दिखाया होता है, that takes something, bro. Like he's still tough, right? इतने शिद्दत से तो आपने अपने मम्मी पापा की नहीं सुनी आज तक that you're listening to some guy on the internet that you've never met, जिसका hyper edited reels होते हैं. If all you do is go to the gym, then you have nothing more to offer to the world than just going to the gym. वो तो बचपन से पता है you should eat your greens and all of that. मम्मी बोल बोल के थक गई, सुनता नहीं है. But it's usually in a moment of impulse, weakness, desperation, urgency that people come to you and they're like, I want to get coached by you. I don't get the whole argument of like, यार ये space बहुत saturated है. Like the fitness space is saturated. कभी ना कभी जो बंदा gym के अंदर enter करा है, he has posted something that he's doing. At least once. If someone says, Arey, I've never done that, you're lying. Shut up, you're lying.
Hi bro, what's up?
All good, bro, you tell me.
Nice. So, on popular demand, I believe we have you back for another conversation with us. How are you feeling?
Absolutely incredible, bro. No punch or tire today.
भाई ने स्पेशली कैब लिया आज क्योंकि लास्ट टाइम एज यू मे नो हमारी भाई का कैब कह रहा हूँ गाड़ी का टायर पंचर हो गया था.
हाँ.
बट वो भी फन था.
वो भी fun था, bro. I feel like half the awkwardness of a new conversation just went away over there.
Yeah, true. And the fact that we met once before also, I think it was true. It was very cool. So, I think one element जो हमने, although we talked at quite some length the last time, right? But one aspect of your life we typically didn't focus a lot on, which was the business side of things. That yes, you know a lot about, you know, being fit, helping people do that, right. You know. Nitty-gritties of nutrition and what foods are healthy, what are not, right? But as we also mentioned Dan Ko in the last conversation, right? Yeah. And he also brings in a lot of perspective around being a one-person brand and one-person business. So in essentially, let's go ahead with your journey of starting your own business from content, or how was that thought process like?
Makes sense, bro. But see, the way that you approach content and businesses online also, firstly, is pretty important. Because एक time पर ऐसा होता था where people would put their faith in brands, like companies, like a logo and a name, and you know, like the whole because it's a company, like you can trust it. And the entire idea behind having a brand or having a company, having a logo and all of that is that it signifies trust, right? Like it signifies some amount of consistency. कि अच्छा इनका product अच्छा है, तो if you buy from the same brand अच्छा ही होगा. Like you differentiate because then people can put more faith in you, type of thing. Except the same thing can happen with personal brands also today, right? And in essence, it would also not be wrong to say that people would put more faith in personal brands as compared to the amount of faith that they would put in companies. Because as time goes on, you come to realize that setting up a company and like setting up a brand and getting a logo and everything, website, is very easy, it's very accessible, it's not that big of a deal. Yeah. But creating a reputation around your name and face and like your identity is a lot harder in comparison, right? So the way that this started was that initially any content that I created had no commercial, technically I don't create commercial content.
In any case.
But it wasn't started with the intention of selling a service. The reason I started creating content was because, like I said in the last episode also, where there was this book that I read, Crushing It by Gary Vee. And then I just started like recording my workouts and everything on my day in college, not in like a vlog form, but posted my to-do list, did this, maybe spoke about productivity a little and all of that. There was no intent behind it. It was just like, ये 3-4 चीज़ें मेरे को बहुत matter करती है, तो I'm going to talk about them, I'm going to document them in some way, shape or form, right? And eventually EY happened, all of that happened, decided to get into fitness. Then the kind of content that I started creating wasn't, it had to become content that actually gave people a reason to believe in me if I had a service to offer. So if, let's say you're starting an online business, of any sort, you can't start it on the basis of like, अच्छा ये viral चल जाएगा, ये post कर लेते, I'll have customers. Because like there's a difference between an informational piece of content and a blatant thirst trap.
Yeah.
One will get you less eyes, but will get you eyes that may actually look at you and be like, हाँ कल को if he has a service to offer, I might buy from him, as long as it's what I need and what I can pay for.
Yeah.
But the thirst trap might get you viral, doesn't really get you anyone like interested in your services.
True.
Unless it's OnlyFans. So I think that's where it started in 2021, where somewhere in, I think, December or Jan of 2022, somewhere around that ballpark, I started like putting out content on my page. Set up a camera against a water bottle. I think the first video that I ever posted was about flexible dieting, where like you just watch your. I still remember that, bro. I was wearing a red polo shirt. It was mad, but absolutely horrible, bro. Audio quality was fuck all. Camera blur. I didn't wipe the camera well enough. पीछे से light वो हो रही है because like not flicker, but like जैसे blur होता है ना because of a dirty camera, stuff like that. But I kept posting basic talking head videos where I take a concept, I explain it, not like what is this is this, but maybe in a way where it's engaging. Nothing funny either, just tried my level best to make sure that I put it in a way where people can understand it and would listen to it from start to end if it's something they're interested in. While I was doing that, it seemed to work really well. And there on out, it became easy for me to like offer my fitness services, because then it became like a ladder-like situation, right? Where I don't know who Francesco is. Oh, Francesco is that guy who's been giving me good advice for the past 3 to 6 months because I've been following him fitness-wise. Some of his advice is working, so I know that he knows what he's talking about. Then it's like, okay, now I may need a coach because I can't handle all of these variables and the accountability myself. Oh, Francesco also offers coaching service. So it becomes like I think this is called the value ladder or value of a ladder or something of that sort, where you start with offering something in exchange for a very small cost. And in this scenario, when it comes to content, the cost is time and attention. They give you that, they get some value in return. The next thing that you have to offer, if it's something that they're looking for, then they're more likely to trust you with it. And there on out if you have more services. So the idea is that you have to place content somewhere on that ladder, which it usually is at the bottom, which is how people get to know you, they get to trust you, they give you their attention and time. Then you offer something that their prior experience with you or giving you their attention has also validated the purchase of. Let's say, if tomorrow when this blows up, your podcast, and if you come out with like a course on how to like reach out to people so that they can engage with you and come on your podcast and everything, and you start coaching people on that, you release a course or whatever. They've seen your podcast, they've like followed your tips online, if at all you have like situations like these where you give out people tips on starting a podcast, then they'll buy your course also. So that would be the value ladder. So you in some sense have to have at least some vague clarity when it comes to what you're making content for, because that's your offer, and what service you're giving. Because if those two are disconnected, then your service won't work. Right? That's like 101s. Because I can't be creating daily vlogs that basically just talk about like, मैं सुबह 7 बजे उठा, फिर मैंने ये करा, फिर मैंने ये करा. And it's all fun and cool, people will still watch it, but it's like, but then it turns into a situation where अच्छा मैं इसके vlogs देखता तो हूँ, but I don't know if he'll be able to coach me. It doesn't, like I have no prior experience in his abilities. तो वो बात होती है. That perspective shift, I think, is like the foundation of any online business that you'll create on the basis of your personal brand, organically, before anything else.
So essentially, वो बात ही है कि आप you're building trust before you're selling something to someone, right? That they know you have an expertise in that. That trust is being built by following that value ladder, in the sense that पहले भी वो एक similar चीज़ consume कर रहे हैं आपसे, which is say an advice around being fit or nutrition, and then your service is essentially that, but at the next level. That this can be something personalized, that this can be something essentially, if you're more interested in, then that's something you can go forward to, because essentially the 21 or 25k, whatever the amount of followers that you might have, may not want to get a service from you, or may not even be your target audience essentially. But out of those 21k only will be the people who will also be interested to say buy something from you. Correct. And they have experienced some sort of one journey जो आपके personal brand के around आ गई कि यार मैं जानता हूँ essentially फ्रांसिस्को को. एक तो वो बात की genuineness समझ आ रही है कि because you get to know a lot of things around a person and not just the value, right? You get to trust that individual in a lot of different senses as well, and not just knowing that Francesco knows what he's talking about. But I think I like the way the guy gives advice. I think I like the way that he's working around in his life in general, how he looks at things, and not just fitness maybe, right? And building your perception that way, that maybe
makes sense. That makes absolute
wants
sense.
People to essentially also be in that circle where you're helping them, right?
Possibly. Because and that's where I don't get the whole argument of like, yaar, ye space bahut saturated hai. Like the fitness space is saturated because every other person who goes to the gym tries to create content at some point of time or the other. Even if they don't do it consistently to a point where they may have a chance to grow. Kabhi na kabhi jo banda gym ke andar enter kara hai, he has posted something that he's doing. At least once. If someone says, Arey, I've never done that, you're lying. Shut up, you're lying. You know? But I feel like if there's an individual there, like you're a person, and even if you're in a similar like niche, if let's say you're in fitness and I'm in fitness, you won't be me, I won't be you. And that's where the differentiation comes in. That's where the whole personal brand thing is a lot more important than we realize. Like, what differentiation apart from your actual service and offering can you make if you're just a company with a logo and a name, apart from having like a recognizable logo and a name? The actual difference apart from your service and service quality is going to come from the individual, because there's a lot more dimensions to an individual in comparison to like a logo and a name. You know, because think about it this way: if let's say your thing is that let's say you're someone who grew up skinny and had a tough time because of it, and you said, okay, now I'm going to help you get fitter, and here's how I put on muscle and everything. That's a relatable story that a lot of people are going to look at and be like, hey, ye to meri story hai, except he's made it and I haven't, so I'm going to take his help. Even if the service is the exact same, you're helping people eat well and build muscle and get leaner, right? But if let's say I'm on the opposite spectrum, where it's like I grew up fat, let's say, and then I lost all of it and now I look phenomenal. Similar service, nutritional protocols are going to be the same, but my story is going to be relatable to a lot more people, right? And that's where the whole, that's where the differentiation comes in, not in the actual service or the service offering. Of course, some things will always be different in the way that you talk and the way that you address questions and all of that. But apart from the offer itself, that differentiation is incredibly important, because that differentiation also implies the lack of existence of saturation. Because wo ho hi nahi sakta na fir. There's millions of different micro niches within like that niche or that industry that you're in.
Correct. And ek cheez one thing I remember, I did this conversation with Saksham Gaur bhai, who's popularly known as Y Saksham, right? In the conversation he mentioned यार कि एक वो saturation की बात पे ही कि वो saturation कभी आएगी नहीं if you're also constantly learning. In the sense that he has his own agency, right? He helps people build their brands in a sense, right? तो वो पर्सपेक्टिव ये उन्होंने ऐड ऑन किया कि यार कि तू अगर नहीं ग्रो कर रहा ना एज एन इंडिविजुअली, तो वो लोग देख रहे हैं, तेरी बातें अपने आप रेपिटेटिव हो जाएंगी अगर तू खुद नहीं ग्रो करेगा, विच विल टेक अवे द इंसेंटिव फॉर पीपल टू फॉलो यू. फॉर एग्जाम्पल इन योर केस, you can only talk about so many things, right? If you're not yourself adding more dimensions, as you mentioned, to yourself and improving on those, तो वो saturation तो market की ज़रूरत ही नहीं है आपको, आप खुद ही saturate हो चुके हो, लोगों को पता है कि he has nothing to offer, bro. Let's just follow somebody else who's probably working a little harder to probably tell me more things that are valuable, right? So also from that saturation lens, I think it's more important to just look within. और उसमें आपके experiences बड़े important हो जाते हैं कि यार मैंने इतने साल से ये सीखा है, right? वो लोगों ने नहीं देखा. अब फिर the course that you shared with me yesterday, right? Dan course says that as an individual, you have some experiences that nobody
Right.
else has had, right? You don't typically know that there is a lot of value in किसी भी चीज़ में जो आपने experience किया. For example, fitness and nutrition in your
Right.
sense, right? So I don't know if we're moving a little apart from the conversation, but point being, on that saturated lens, there's always something special to you.
Yeah.
And if you probably keep on honing it and knowing that yes, there's something special यार कि तुम nobody is Francesco and Francesco is nobody else, right? तो वो बड़ा पर्सपेक्टिव आई थिंक अंदर लेके आ सकती है चीज़ कि आप सैचुरेटेड मार्केट तो कोई भी सैचुरेटेड नहीं है.
हाँ नहीं है.
इतनी मतलब अश्नील ग्रोवर की बात मेरे को याद आ रही है. अब पता नहीं, people don't like the guy, people like the guy. I just like this concept that every market in India is too big, yaar.
Huh?
No market is saturated in the sense that there always will be people who want what you're selling. It's just that it needs to be a good service.
Yeah, and it's supposed to reach the right kind of people.
Yeah,
With social media makes so easy, bro.
exactly.
It's the thing that you spoke about, the perspective that Saksham Gaur brings, bro. Look
Yeah.
at his page only.
Yeah,
There's learning,
yeah,
constant upskilling,
yeah,
like from books and otherwise.
Yeah.
He also blatantly talks about how he's very bullish on courses because अगर कुछ सीखने को मिल रहा है तो फिर अच्छी बात है.
Yeah.
Recently his content has also become like this
course.
is something I want to try where it's not vertical anymore, but it's like a vertical video, but it's
Yeah.
horizontal
Yeah.
within the frame. Mad.
Yeah.
When you evolve, you also see ऐसा नहीं है that मतलब you'll run out of things to say, but you'll run out of things to say that you're interested in.
Okay.
You know, like there's unlimited things to talk about in fitness also,
Yeah.
or nutrition. दोनों में मिला कि you could like spend your entire life learning about it also. You
Yeah.
could spend your entire life talking about it also.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily why people would want to listen to you.
Yeah.
You know, like I find that if I were to choose my blend at this point in time, I like talking about online businesses, online services. I like talking about freelancing. I like talking about like how these things work, because fitness तो ठीक है, but ठीक नहीं है मतलब it's great, but that's not the entirety of my personality. You know. This is also something that I've come to make peace with as of recently, where I don't want to work with people just to get people who just want to get a little fitter. I want to start working with people who want to get fitter and want to live like high performance lives, like people who are centered on people in their 20s and 30s who want to kill it at work, want great mental clarity, just want to like go beyond the competition by a mile. You know, that's the kind of people that I also want to work with, because I feel like that falls perfectly in line with how my approach towards a lot of these things are. So that makes it fun. So I feel like within what we define as a micro niche, there's even more, and the only way that you can make it really your own and without like stagnating within your own space is by ever evolving.
Yeah.
And I think that's perfectly put by Saksham.
Right. But how do you separate yourself also from the brand? Do you think that's important?
From what?
In the sense that you have a brand. Like there's FTF, Francesco, Tills Fitness, right? There's people who connect with the brand, but you don't always only want to be restricted to be the guy who just coaches you on fitness. Right.
But the point is that I am the brand then, you know, when you have a personal brand. So me restricting myself to an identity that I chose yesterday without letting it like grow arms and legs is going to be a choice, not a compulsion of having a personal brand. If I have a personal brand, let's say tomorrow if I get into something new, right? If I don't know, pick something else along with fitness, where I'm talking about, or just whatever, there's more to me, let's say, I haven't decided what. If I do that, then that's also going to be a very implied part of my personal brand, because at the end of the day, it is personal. I think the only part of your personal brand that you should keep aside is stuff that you don't want the world to see. You know, like if I want to talk about work, I want to talk about productivity, I want to talk about other, like I'm interested in mental models. If I start making content on that, then that's a very natural implied extension of having a personal brand, because it's not personal if it's supposed to be tied down to something that you put on a paper.
Right.
Okay, I'm a fitness person, so I can't talk about anything but fitness. So personal brand kaise hua?
Right.
So I don't think getting tied to the brand is ever a problem. I think that's just something that people tend to do sometimes because if something worked in the past, they marry what worked in the past. So it doesn't work forever.
True. That's a good aspect. It's not essentially personal if it stays stagnant to one particular aspect of yourself, right? Talking more about your service-based business that you've created, it takes an individual to sell a service to people.
Right.
So within that journey, were you always a guy who liked selling or had that experience or wanted to do that, or how did you actually become that person who now goes on client calls, right? Sells essentially a service to people. What does that take, and how have you learned essentially? How do you sell?
Like in the sense, becoming the person who apart from fitness and nutrition also enjoys the business part of it, like, selling and all that. I think it was a part of the job, bro.
Okay.
Initially. But I like talking to people also. So initially when it was extremely daunting, where it's like I have to get on a call for half an hour, understand their problems, which is great. That part is fine. But then also tell them about my service and expect money in return. That I was awkward with, frankly speaking, because learning how to communicate value in your service and doing it in a manner to the right people, of course, so that they don't have the hesitation that they feel and then they end up like giving their money to you in exchange. That's uncomfortable, bro. At the start, most people are very awkward, demanding, in essence, demanding money, right? Because that's what selling your service is. You're like, okay, this is what I'll give you. You have to give me this. And this, matlab, money. It's a tough conversation, right? So for the first few months, I was awkward. But over a period of time, you come to realize that, I'm giving results. I'm expecting something in return. Because varna kyun hi karunga main?
True.
You almost validate the part of the conversation where you express that, acha, main ye dunga, and you're supposed to give this back to me. I feel like in some sense, it was a learning curve that I had to go through. Where I had to get comfortable with it, to realize the rationale behind why I'm doing a sales call in the first place and what I'm offering in return. And what I'm offering in return is basically something that may change your life, right? Fitness and health and nutrition. Once you're comfortable with the idea that you're asking for something that if you're offering a service is rightfully yours, then it doesn't get awkward anymore, bro. Along with that, a couple of other realizations also. For example, knowing that, bro, I'm responsible for putting food on my table. So just because you're awkward with doing a sales call doesn't mean that you're supposed to stay awkward with it forever. Once you make peace with facts like those, that's when you also give yourself a chance to get better at it. So over a period of time, find your own structure, do it differently over a period of time, test what works for you, like the tone that you're comfortable with, and of course learn from others also. I know for a fact that within my first year मैंने इतनी help ली है ना लोगों से, not in like please मेरी help कर दो, but I was just surrounded by such brilliant people that it really helped me get some perspective on like, acha, how do you do this? So you do that, I don't do that part of what you're doing, maybe I should try that. So as you get better at it, as you get comfortable with it, and you also realize that because I work with myself and a few other people, but not in person. Then that external contact of also talking to new people every day, whether or not they buy from you, is also very thrilling. Then you want to do it. So I feel like that comfort and that improvement is what led to interest. So which is why now, like, let's say if there's a new consultation call at the end of which this person might hire me as their coach or no, I enjoy it regardless. It's fun. Ghanta chale jai, you don't want to buy from me, koi baat nahi. We'll have fun on the call, is what the situation is.
What does a typical call look like? Just out of curiosity.
Good question. There's a problem that you've come to me with. Because fitness is usually something that people know they should do. Although bachpan se pata you should eat your greens and all of that. Mummy bol ke thak gayi, sunta nahi hai. But it's usually in a moment of impulse, weakness, desperation, urgency that people come to you and they're like, I want to get coached by you. Urgency in the sense, some sort of a problematic blood report that you get, or desperation or impulse, kind of like, let's say someone said something, lately you've been feeling like crap in the mirror. One day you find yourself like, damn, this is an occasion I really wanted to go to, but I don't like how I look, so I'm not going. You know, stuff like that. Like some turning point that drives home the point that you need to take care of yourself, that you knew forever. You knew this from the start of your life. You knew this ever since you became an adult. Okay, I need to take care of my fitness. You never worked towards it till now. Suddenly something came up that made it very important for you to do that. So at the start, I ask for like the people's goals, which there's a system where they fill in an inquiry form. Someone from my team reaches out, asks some basic questions, just to see if it's even if there's even a point of us having a conversation right now. If someone's like, yeah, I don't have any specific goals, I just want to know what the service is, then it's like, then on the call I can't even give you any value because I don't know what you're looking for, you know. So maybe not. Then it's like, okay, we understand. If you have any questions, if you want a resource, like a free resource, we do provide those also. If you want a free resource on a specific goal, you have any questions that you want to ask us, fair, but I don't think there's any point in us having a call because we don't understand your goals yet, because of which we don't even know if we can help you. Once those are done, then a call gets scheduled. At the start of the call, it's like, okay, we'll talk about our goals first. We'll talk about any associated history with those goals. For example, if you want to lose weight, have you ever tried before? Have you ever worked out before? Have you ever tried dieting before? Because all of those things are important because it speaks to your relationship with things like these and whether or not there's a work ethic that exists. Like where you come from is very important because it defines the approach that we'll take. That said, why the goal matters also is important. So I ask about lifestyle, I ask about any attempts in the past and all of that, because I found that sometimes when people come with the intent of like, ha yaar chal fit hoke dekhte hain, with no strong why, you know, no reason, but because suddenly it's become sexy to become to have abs and everything because Instagram pe sabke hain. If people come from a place of not having enough reason or not having enough resolve or not either having a situation where they've ever taken it seriously, but now there's an urgency, like doctors' opinions and all of that. Or kuch suddenly kharab ho jaye, and the doctor's like, listen, you really need to get your shit together. Unless it's situations like that where it's just like a casual, ki haan, chalo, tell me what your service has. If I want to try it out, I'll try it out. Then it doesn't really make sense taking someone like that on. Because even if they join you, they pay you, they start working with you, they're not going to be responsive. And at the end of the day, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth also. If someone comes, doesn't work towards it, you've reached out a couple of times, they give you half-hearted replies or they don't reply, they ghost you. And it's like, yaar, guilty nahi lagta because you knew what you were signing up for. I'm not your parent to be like, please reply kar de, please reply kar de. Exactly. But when that happens, that it just in your head is like, yaar, it's a waste of time for both of us, right? Like, given limited slots and everything, we could have taken on someone who actually at least replied. So that's why that becomes important. Once we have surety that, acha, theek hai, this person's in the right frame of mind, their goals are achievable, and there's no other complication. Like, let's say if someone has a very bad relationship with food, and unless and until they're seeing a mental health professional with whom they're comfortable with me talking at least once or twice or more, then in those situations, I personally, at least on my own, can't help you, you know, because I can't give you I'm not a mental health professional. So if there's parts of your fitness journey that are massively affected by your mental health to the point where I need to be cautious in my approach, then I can't help you, you know. Or if, let's say, you have a medical issue that requires medical treatment, but you're like, no, I want to do lifestyle first. I'm not willing to take on the responsibility of that because I am not a doctor and I know what sometimes medication does, nutrition can never. You can't be like, oh, मेरे को thyroid है, but मैं medication नहीं लूँगा, मुझे BP है, but चलो हम पहले nutrition से try करेंगे. I'm like, no, talk to your doctor first. If you have those conditions, or even if you don't have those conditions, I don't want you following a program to solve those conditions without keeping a doctor in the loop. Because I'm not qualified, obviously, to give you that advice, you know. Plus, it'll also be ethically wrong for me to do that. And morally. So wo baat hai. Once we're there, then I'll walk them over what the program entails, what a loose strategy would be, which of course I take the liberty of saying that if I change my mind, we will change the strategy. But as of now, from what I know, with like a primary assessment of the conversation that we have. This is the strategy I want to go for, and this is how the program is going to look like. This is what our communication is going to look like. If this seems like something that works for you, because I think it'll work for you, I also understand your goals. If it seems like something that you want to take on at this point in time, great, let's take it forward. If not, no stress. You can always reach out to me if you have any questions. So that's like the structure of the call. It doesn't involve like any of those salesy tactics, like what would happen if we solved your problems. Although, like, I find that cringe. Personally, mera style nahi hai wo. I'm sure it works for people. But my like introductory calls that also in some sense offer the service to people and they make a decision is more like a conversation in some sense.
The thing that I take away, firstly, I applaud you in terms of the seriousness you take these calls with. But one thing in general that I think a lot of us can take away is that it's, I think, always in benefit to not be in a position where you have to hard sell. Like, that's where the content comes in, right? You've built in enough trust. You don't need to tell people who Francesco is in a sales call. तो आपने hard sell आपको करने की ज़रूरत भी नहीं है. You don't need to, essentially, use those salesy tactics because there's enough evidence for people to know who you are.
True.
Right? And that's where that picture also comes in. And point is कि सामने वाले को पता भी लग जाता है कि आप, if you're trying to sell somebody something, if it doesn't result out of the need of a person, they feel that you're wanting to sell me something.
True, makes sense, bro. Because see, at some point of time when you're dealing with humans, you don't want to hard sell something that is as basic as fitness, health, life quality is. If you have to hard sell that and like convince someone to do that,
they're not your client in the first place.
They're not your client and they're not going to listen to you, bro, because they didn't want this in the first place. They were made to want it in some sense. And I understand if people have hesitations, like a hesitation yesterday was this, that so a client that joined me yesterday, she's like, I have hesitations when it comes to managing my nutrition because I live in a PG. And I was very frank. I was like, if I will want you to manage your own nutrition, because I can't speak to the food that your PG gives you. So even if I say like, okay, have dal, I don't know if it's like 10% dal, 90% water, 10% dal, 40% water and 50% ghee. I don't know any of those things, right? So my program will not even work for you even if you try to make good decisions. That's the idea. Having said that, I also feel like the only client, especially when you're dealing with something that has a lot of communication or is like a very rooted part of your life, the only kind of clients that you want are people who have almost already made that decision to work with you, but just have like one or two hesitations कि मेरे को ये नहीं समझ आ रहा या मुझे वो नहीं समझ आ रहा, or maybe this is the bad experience that I had last time with working with someone else, so how are we going to solve that? And you have like a concrete answer, then it's like, alright, cool, work together. But beyond that, if you have to convince people to need what you're offering in the first place, then you're doomed, basically, because it's like, this is why fitness is important for you. If you have to have that conversation beyond your content, don't take that client on, because तुम्हारी सिर पे बहुत गंदा headache होगा. Because later on they're going to lose motivation. They're going to think of it as a waste that they started working with you, and you don't want that energy. When you're working with a lot of clients, I don't work with a lot of clients because usually people are like, oh, we have 75 clients, 100 clients. I personally can't do that. Like 30, 40 is where I'm very comfortable, which is also why my prices compared to like the rest of the industry are a little higher, because I don't want to like keep taking on more clients to grow career wise. So I'd rather keep that limited, keep growing my content, keep improving my service with limited clients only, and just make it more expensive over a period of time. So yeah, then supply demand just evens it out, and that way I found that over a few years my result rate has also gone up, because then I can be more selective with who I take on, but फिर वो भी ऐसा लगता है कि यार, if I'm more selective with the people that I'm taking on, I also want to offer something to the people that I'm not taking on. So that's why I came out with a
free resource.
Free resources. It's a series of ebooks called Nourish Now. they're aimed at, like, each individual ebook is going to be aimed at a specific goal. So like fat loss, muscle gain, meal prepping, for example, like a recipe book. Eventually I'll also get into a 101 of understanding things that are a little more complicated. Like, let's say what happens when you have thyroid and, you know, stuff like that, like stuff that can be a little more specific. But usko itna acha bana dena over a period of time that people who can actually manage it on their own, in terms of like not needing accountability but just needing instructions, they don't need a coach ever. So that's where it's headed also.
Damn, bro, that's a crazy vision. I was just about to ask you then, how do you grow materially? And then you gave me the answer that the supply demand will, of course, even it out, right? When there's so much demand, you can always charge a little higher and a little higher. And then it's a good perspective that it's not just you, but you're also catering to your whole audience by bringing in that free resources perspective, right? Or maybe keep something in the middle also for somebody who just can't get your service, right? They can be, like, say, you could create a, you know, course which is, say, based on 4 to 5 categories of people that come to you, right? There's a course that you can create that there's these basic strategies that have worked for people, right? And probably you identify yourself as being in one of this category, so you can go and buy this particular course, which is not as high as what you're charging your clients, which of course you want to keep it limited so that'll grow. Course. But yeah, that could also be a way.
Who knows, we might. So one of my team members, he was in town yesterday, the dinner that I spoke of. Yeah. He came up with the idea of having a DIY coaching system where less check-ins, but you teach them how to make a plan.
Oh, wow.
I believe someone else has already done that in the industry, so I wasn't very enthusiastic about it because kuch naya karne mein maza aata hai. Like the ebooks that basically solve your problems for you.
Yeah.
But let's see, makes sense. Because like you said, India mein there's a big enough market for anything.
Everything, yeah. True.
So, yeah, the whole like solve problems for free without worrying about your main service being affected is a bad idea. Because frankly speaking, if someone has an idea of how you work, so I ran something called Project Second Wind, which I'm going to run at the end of June also, 1st of July onwards.
Okay.
Which is basically a 2-month program that is meant for people who already have fitness experience. They've been working out for a while. They just want to get leaner. I've been working out for a while, but maybe because of a vacation, or I'm going for a vacation, shaadi aa rahi hai. I'm kind of fit, but I also have enough fat on me that I want to see what happens if I lose a lot of this fat. So it's like a 2-month program, like a 2-month fat loss program for most people who have some experience in fitness and don't have any medical complication and don't also want to have like a daily check-in system. This one's going to be like bi-weekly.
Yeah.
Like 2 times a week wala bi-weekly.
Yeah.
When I ran that in November last year, a lot of the people who joined that program, which was obviously a cheaper program than my normal coaching, they liked it and they were like, yeah, but I want to work with you long term, so now I want to take your normal coaching. So the idea is that if you offer something small, don't worry that if you offer something small or if you offer something for free or you offer something for cheaper, you're going to lose your bigger market. A lot of the people who you've offered something for cheaper are going to believe in you. Yeah, because if let's say there's a service that you're selling for like $1 lakh, right? Yeah. If they don't know you, never seen you, haven't had enough one-on-one conversations with you, and if 1 lakh is something that means something to them, like it's expensive to them, they're probably not going to buy from you, even if they really need your service and you really are willing to give this person your all in terms of effort. But if they bought something from you for a smaller price, let's say if they've bought something for you for 4,999, a random number, they have a little more faith in you as long as you've delivered on this promise. Then to make that jump, even though it's still a massive jump, but at least I know for a fact, मैं scam नहीं हो जाऊँगा 1 lakh में, you know. So that's the idea. It opens up a different level of experiential trust when you offer something, and then you offer something bigger after, which is why content works, because you've offered something for free. Social proof works in the same way. Social proof in addition to valuable content. Then maybe like an ebook, for example. I remember when I released the stress ebook, one of the reasons why I had to expand my team right after that, when I released the stress ebook last year, is because after that there was such a surge in the number of people who were asking me, like who were filling the inquiry form, that I was like, I physically can't take care of this myself. Before which I was taking care of it myself. That's when someone else came on board to help me with like reaching out to them and all of that. So that's the idea. The value ladder thing is mad helpful and it's hella underrated.
I was about to say that we got that in full circle कि चाहे content की बात हो, चाहे एक level up की service की बात हो, जैसे for example selling something for $499 before you're selling something for $1 lakh,
right,
goes a long way. It's all about trust in that sense. And as you talk about ebooks, right, giving resources for free, point is that the market also you talked about 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds that are your audience, which are bulk users on say Instagram, etc. Right. That's also become a mode of seeking growth or learning in essence, because you're spending so much time on Instagram. You can either watch entertainment reels all day and you'll be that person who is not learning anything in that day, or you can head to Instagram following accounts like yourself or Danco or people or Vaisaksham, right? People creating content that you're also typically learning from. So when you can't do away कि मैं Instagram तो नहीं बंद कर रहा अब अपना, क्योंकि सोशल लाइफ भी नहीं कर सकते, बट उसमें जितना मैं टाइम स्पेंड कर रहा हूँ उसमें या तो मैं सीख सकता हूँ, या तो मैं एंटरटेनमेंट देख सकता हूँ, या मैं कहीं मिडल में भी हो सकता हूँ. द पॉइंट दैट आई एम ट्राइंग टू ड्रॉ इज दैट social media is also a place that we are learning from in a lot of sense. I am, and I think a lot of people are. तो जब हम सेल्फ इम्प्रूवमेंट वाली मार्केट की बात करते हैं इंस्टाग्राम के ऊपर, है ना, तो हाउ डू यू एज एन इंडिविजुअल और व्हाट डू यू हाउ डू यू से टिपिकली सजेस्ट पीपल look at self improvement, because you're also a creator who's helping them improve in a lot of senses, right? So how do you view the market in?
यार पहले तो मुझे नहीं लगता इंस्टाग्राम पे लोग इंटेंशनली कुछ सीखते हैं.
अच्छा.
Accidentally ज़रूर.
Okay.
Like they'll come across a reel and so they, oh, this is how I got abs in 6 months or something of that nature. And they'll learn a little bit from it.
Right.
At worst,
right.
No, not at worst, but even then a good, in a pleasant scenario, they'll get some inspiration even if they don't get the right information. But more often than not, it's just brain rot, bro. Even if we really try to control it. I have to massively curb my Instagram usage for me to not have mad brain rot. Right? Like, I have to. Instagram is primarily the only reason I have 2 phones. Like, it's the only reason, because it's a rabbit hole, bro.
True.
You can't separate yourself from the reality of how gripping these things are. If you, there's this friend of mine who has this app. I forgot the name of the app because I've never used it. But it's this app where every time you open Instagram, it's going to get you to a different screen, like a blocker screen of sorts. It's going to ask you to take 3 deep breaths or how many ever deep breaths and be like, do you really want to open Instagram?
Nice.
And it's like, damn, like that's how subconscious, or like that's how much our decision to use Instagram and social media is not rooted in like conscious decision.
Yeah.
And that's very troubling. It's very troubling because I personally have found that 2 apps will take up a majority of my headspace and time and attention when I'm going through something that's tough at work, personally, whatever. I remember going through a bit of a, like, not a personal low, but like a personal issue of sorts, which was like taking away from my mental energy.
Okay.
And I remember every 15 seconds I would reach for my phone, play music, koi sa bhi gana chal raha, doesn't really matter, playing it aloud or like in my AirPods or whatever throughout the entire day. And it wouldn't feel good. It would feel like noise, like irritation bhi ho rahi hai, yaar gana band kar. But फिर बंद कर दिया तो within 15 seconds, I'm not exaggerating, within 15 seconds I'd go back and I'd play it again and then I'd shut it down again. It's almost as if it became like that decision was not my own to play it, but I was also getting fed up with it. And that happened with Instagram also. Like scroll कर रहे हो and like you're feeling pathetic and it's like यार क्या कर दिया मैंने अपने दिन का? But then बंद कर दिया. 15 minutes later you're back on it. I think the only way to distance yourself from it is to make sure that you don't rely on your willpower to stay away from things like these.
You create a decision point by having
a different phone. Yeah. A different phone or a third party app, deleting it and downloading it whenever it is that you actually need it, which by the way I was back enough to do at one point of time, but it helped. Firstly, recognizing that, and then recognizing that a lot of the self-improvement content that you see online, you have to be very, very careful of. Because not everyone who promotes self-help content is someone that you should listen to.
Okay.
Without taking names.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it is just basically 23-year-olds or some dude who's talking about having like some dude who's basically like telling you how to live life, how to run your career, how to run your relationships, and he has neither.
I get
I don't have a name in mind. I really don't.
I have a person in mind now.
Can you write it down and show me? Likh le tab tak. But if you're taking that advice from people who have neither one of those three, what are you doing?
True.
Hold on. I can't read it from here.
No, you won't be able to read it because even I don't recall the name. I just remember the person who...
Arey yaar.
Is this...
Tell me.
Do you want me to explain the guy?
Yeah, explain the guy.
He's this built up young guy जो I think हरियाणवी है और बोल रहा है कि यार कि ऐसे हार्ड बनो, ये करो, वो करो, सारा दिन ऊपर अपनी छत पे वर्कआउट्स हो रहा है, ये हो रहा है, that your shit if you don't know how to be productive, how to work hard, etc.
Is this the Knucklehead Warrior?
I think so.
Okay. I don't know if he gives life advice, but when he says कि अच्छा उसकी मैं ट्रेनिंग में ये करता हूँ वो करता हूँ, he's a tough guy. There is no denying that. He is even if let's say he's exaggerating everything, but जो उसने वीडियो पे भी दिखाया होता है, that takes something, bro. Like he's still tough, right? Even if he shows like a 30-second clip of it, and if he's doing something whack, that takes effort. So respect there. मुझे नहीं लगता a normal human would recover from the kind of like physical strain that he's talking about. कि मतलब मैंने आज ये करा, फिर मैंने ये करा, फिर मैंने ये करा. I personally don't think I have a tough time believing it. I'm not saying that he's lying, but if I want to believe it, I would want to see it someday. उसके पहले मैं believe नहीं कर रहा because मेरे पास कोई reason नहीं है believe करने का. But apart from that, props to the guy. He's tough. Like a lot of people now, because he fought some other dude. He fought some dude who was much heavier than him, clearly more built than him, like sparring, like box. He was sparring with him, and he got beaten up, bro. The other dude won by a mile. But then again, he also took on someone who was much heavier than him, higher weight class, more experience and all of that. So ठीक है bro, but even if he lost, he's walking the talk. He took on a challenge that's bigger than him. As for what he says, मैंने ये करा, फिर मैंने ये करा, फिर मैंने ये खाया. मुझे नहीं लगता, but maybe that's my own lack of evidence and skeptical nature when it comes to stuff like
maybe
this.
Maybe that's the same on my part.
But अब इसी का example ले लो bro. If you're going to listen to him and do what he is doing, you will break yourself in half. Like you'll snap in half if you do that. If you try to do that, imagine like someone's looking at it and go like, हाँ, मैं भी 1000 से पार्टी करूँगा. फिर मैं 10 किलोमीटर भागूंगा वेटेड वेस्ट के साथ. फिर मैं उसके बाद 3 घंटे शैडो बॉक्सिंग करूँगा. फिर मैं रात को इतने भटूरे खाऊंगा. भाई तो अगले दिन नहीं उठेगा. If you make it to the night. So you have to be careful of where you take your advice from, because not everything is meant for you. Not everything is true, and not everything is good information, loosely speaking. So you have to be very careful. You can't take it at face value. So choose some people who seem to know what they're talking about, have a good track record of helping people, all of that. Seem rational in their approach and not extremist. And listen to them not as a fan. You know? Because
that's a big problem.
Yeah, because इतने शिद्दत से तो आपने अपने मम्मी पापा की नहीं सुनी आज तक, that you're listening to some guy on the internet that you've never met जिसका hyper edited reels या hyper edited podcasts होते हैं और like videos होते हैं. So yeah, I think that's the state of self-help, because it's very easy to become a self-help type of guru, bro.
Yeah, true.
Because you don't have to show substance for it, you just have to have a good backdrop and you have to have a good script. Basically,
Yeah.
if you have a physique and you have like a well done physical appearance, that helps.
Yeah.
But that's about it, because ये problem ही इतनी desperation के साथ more often than not self-help related content comes with a lot of like desperation also. Why do people go towards self-help content? Either something has happened in their life, they've gotten broken up with, they feel like a loser, बहुत घटिया spot में, mental health on a low. In that state of desperation and drowning, you'll hold on to a snake also to pull yourself up. Though you have to be extremely cautious, ultra cautious in situations like those. But of course, if something is blatantly correct, regardless of who it comes from, you should work hard. You should take care of your fitness. You should, like, you know, if let's say someone's giving you dating advice, like, don't share your life secrets too early. Let things happen. Don't, like, if something's being done to you, it'll be stupid for you to like go back to the same person. Basic, like, जो आपको पहले भी पता थी, बस सेल्फ हेल्प कंटेंट आपको ये सब चीजें अफर्म कर रहा है, वैलिडेट कर रहा है कि हाँ ये मुझे पता थी, किसी और से सुनना था. That's the cap. That's where self-help content should just stop for you. Things that you knew deep inside were true, you're just hearing it from an external source. Anything beyond that, something extremist, like there was this one clip where it's like, oh, if you don't have a Lamborghini by the age of 23, you should really ask yourself what you're doing. That's stupid. Things like those you should probably stay away from.
But it gets them views now. That's why people who are making it probably making it because it's so. Because you're being rude to me as a 23-year-old who doesn't have a Lamborghini. Ki bhai, kyun bhai?
It's working for them. That's why as a consumer you have to be very careful who you listen to, because the nature of this sort of content is it has a gravitational pull of its own. It's aspirational. People who are saying these things seem to be living a kick-ass life, seem to be living the life that most people would want if they were to like write it down in a diary, at least on social media. Then the nature, and of course it also usually comes in a time of your desperation when people get into this content. Plus the nature of social media is that social media itself is going to pull you towards it. The type of content and the nature of the platform is a deadly combination if you're not choosy about what you're listening to or what you're consuming. As a consumer, you almost have to treat your attention more you have to treat your attention in a way where it's almost more valuable than the money that you have in your pocket.
True.
Because if you're not, then that's horrible. Like, your attention will be commanded if you don't command your own attention. That's how choosy you have to be with what you're listening to and the content that you're consuming, and even the amount of time that you're spending on Instagram, bro. My business runs on Instagram. I'm telling you, you're better off without Instagram.
But easier, of course. I mean, you've done that. I've really struggled with doing that. But now, gradually, I have developed that perspective where I am at least questioning. क्या मुझे देखनी है रील? नहीं देखनी तो at least मैं वो देखूं जो मुझे देखना है.
Correct. Yeah.
It's also not मतलब that black and white की मत मतलब bro saying that don't look at Instagram. Right, but of course he means कि वो extreme sense में मत देखो, but if you're able to use तो हम कर ही रहे हैं, but if you've acknowledged that it's doing more harm than good, then let's look at ways you can control it with and not wait for a tipping point कि भाई इतना खराब हो गई हालत कि अब तो कुछ करना ही पड़ेगा या अब उतना खराब चीज़ हो चुकी है ना.
सही में.
And but yeah, it's just that you think about it. If it's not doing good to you, you just question yourself. You can't. Even if we do that in the sense कि भाई जैसे मैंने बोला कि यार मेरे को ये रील देखनी है कि नहीं देखनी is like a first step probably before taking another bigger step कि यार like I really like the idea of that app, man. I will go look it up and do that because naturally मैं भी बंद करके खोल लेता हूँ 15 सेकंड के बाद पॉइंट इज़ कि अगर इमीडिएटली मेरे आसपास कुछ नहीं है जो मेरे को करना है, तो इट्स लाइक गो टू मैन. इवन एट वर्क ब्रो, आई एम नॉट किडिंग, बट आई सी पीपल दैट ऑल ऑफ अस हैव वर्क टू डू. ठीक है, बट इतना घुस चुके हैं, इतना सबकॉन्शियस हो चुका है that if you have your phone nearby, you're bound to pick it up and open Instagram 100%. Or anything.
I struggle with it also, bro. The two phones is just like a first step. Eventually, it's hard, bro. It's really hard. Like, it's easier said than done for sure. Because I'm saying it because I know it. Struggle to aaj bhi main bhi kar raha hu. I have to keep my phone out of physical distance.
Yeah, exactly.
Like accessible physical distance.
Yeah.
For it to work. Because if I'm working on my like work phone and suddenly there's like a few minutes of me not having anything pressing to do, I'll pick up my personal phone. A lot of times, like when this was at its peak and I really needed to focus because a lot of things were happening, I used to keep my home phone in the car when entering my co-working space. And I just have my work phone on me. कि अच्छा Instagram, personal WhatsApp वगैरह चेक करना है तो नीचे जाके चेक करेंगे खाना खाते हुए. वैसे it's horrible.
It's about introducing more decision points that keep you away.
And you can't rely on your willpower, bro. If there was like let's say if there was like fries kept over here, regardless of whether or not I should have them or no, we would eat them.
We would,
Simple सी बात है. So you have to like reduce the number of times your willpower may fail. You can't rely on like your willpower being bulletproof, because कभी होता नहीं है. Stronger हो सकता है, but होता नहीं है bulletproof कभी.
हम एक चीज़ के बारे में कल बात कर रहे थे कि talking about people who are actually working out, right? People who typically know that fitness is important, going to the gym constantly. एक हम ये जैसे हमने स्टार्टिंग में बात करी of having multi dimensions as an individual. We talked about the fact कि कभी कभी एक बंदा unidimensional बन जाता है जब वो अपने जिम को ही अपनी personality बना लेता है as a whole. Now why this question is interesting to hear from you, because you're someone who's actually advocating not making that your personality, but saying that this is so good. But then, is there a point where you like, again, constantly acknowledge कि यार, I am just not a guy who goes to the gym? Or how do you advocate that to people who are listening to you?
See, it's simple really. If all you do is go to the gym, then you have nothing more to offer to the world than just going to the gym. If you're an 18, 19-year-old, nobody gives a fuck, right? Like, 18 पे ठीक है, I mean, like, nobody takes college seriously. I didn't take college seriously. So हाँ ठीक है, if your personality, at least for the most part, revolves around the gym, initially, I can see why you would get away with it for a while. But then again, compared to other people, then you're just then you're the definition of a meathead. कि ये कहता है ये मेहनत कर रहा है, मेहनत क्या है? घर पे जाकर घर वालों का खाना खा रहा है, but and then goes to the gym और फिर सोता है to get his recovery in. Like that's the that's the most conducive way जल्दी बॉडी बनाने का. कि मतलब क्या करना है, बेरोजगार हो रहा है, जिम जा रहा है, मम्मी पापा खाना दे देंगे, रात के 10 घंटे सोने for proper recovery, and that's it. But that is going to put you at a massive disadvantage at life. It's not even something that I have to advocate. It's just the reality. Like, are you good with people because you know for a fact that being good socially is going to help you in your life sooner or later? Are you good at the job that you do because you know for a fact being good at the job that you do is going to help you in your career later? When you go meet people, let's say like you're dating someone and then she introduces you to someone else, do you come across as a jock who's like, hi, I bench press 100 kgs? Or do you have more to you? You know, so crazy, your life becomes good in all aspects when you're good in multiple things. Because otherwise then you're just going to be limited to, you're going to be that person who even in the day after like a night of club hopping and like partying and everything together, the next day also, that's all you have to talk about. Oh, last night was a rager, ye kara, humne wo kara. And it's just, man, shut the fuck up. 12 baj rahe dophar ke. You know, like, do you have nothing else to talk about? You'll become the gym version of the person who either talks about partying, alcohol, and or drugs when they're not doing partying, alcohol, and or drugs. And that's irritating. Both of them are equally irritating. Just one of them is a little more acceptable because it's not bad for your health. But if you're just that, you're boring as shit, your life is going to stagnate after a while because everyone else around you is going to get tired of you. And all in all, it's important to, while this is great to have as an interest, eventually it should just fade into being a part of your life that you should take seriously.
Yeah.
But not more seriously than like your work and like all of that. This should just get automated at some point. I'm fit, I reap the benefits, great. Kal kaam pe kya karna hai mujhe? That sort of situation.
So essentially, when I think about it, right, I think you also as a brand, as a guy who's offering services, has a lot of value to offer in the sense that you're helping people not just be fit, right, not just eat healthy, but I mean do better at lives, as you mentioned initially, right? Kyunki you're also emphasizing the fact कि भाई सिर्फ ये नहीं करना, ये एक एस्पेक्ट है तेरी लाइफ का जिसको डेफिनेटली तू हार्ड वर्क करना ज़रूरी है, मेहनत करना ज़रूरी है, जो हमने शायद पहली पूरी कॉन्वर्सेशन में एम्फेसाइज किया कि भाई हाउ ऑल ऑफ अस प्रॉब्ली इग्नोर दैट, बट पॉइंट इज़ अगेन टू बी इन द बैलेंस and not making it your personality essentially helps you because you have fucking things to talk about.
Yeah.
Right. And that people can interact with you just being Francesco and not being Francesco 100 kg bench press.
Makes sense. Yeah. I agree.
Do you think eating, as you mentioned, eating fries,
yeah,
as you advocate like eating healthy, do you think that should, or I'm framing it in a way that makes you answer it differently, let me frame it naturally, क्या बाहर का खाना खाना चाहिए भाई in general?
बाहर जाके खाना चाहिए.
Okay.
Not because it's good for your health, because it's not. It's objectively not as good as cooking your own food and eating at home, objectively speaking. But I look at food as one of three things. Serves a purpose of your nutrition and your performance and recovery and your health and all of that. Second is something to bond over. Let's say we met yesterday, we met in a restaurant. The first time we met, that was at dinner. For a reason. Most people are more comfortable bonding with people over an activity more often than not. It's food. Third, it has cultural significance and even religious significance in most cases.
Okay.
Festival aata hai, there are certain things that we eat, right? Plum cake on Christmas, मिठाइयाँ बढ़ती है जब कुछ होता है, कुछ occasion होता है मिठाइयाँ बढ़ती है, all of that, right? There's a reason that happens. So, if food falls in one of three categories, when you're bonding with people or when it comes to cultural significance or celebrating an occasion, more often than not, it's not going to be with ghar ka dal chawal, right? And that's fine. So that's why I feel like for now, I may change this viewpoint in the future. If you're getting good quality food, then maybe eating out like once, perhaps even twice in a week, depending on where you're at with your fitness goals and your health and of course, this is all assuming that you make good choices. You're not going out and having like deep fried food. You're not going out and having cut vegetables that haven't been cooked. You're not going out and having alcohol, all of that, and you're portion controlling. If you're doing all of that and you're a relatively healthy individual and you're fit, maybe eating out once or twice in a week is perfectly fine as long as your choices are smart. And there's a reason. ऐसे नहीं, oh मैंने इस हफ्ते मैंने बाहर से नहीं खाया तो चलो Zomato कर लेते हैं. Not that. But like, you know, if I have Sunday lunches with my family outside, then I'm going to have a family lunch outside with my family because the point was not the food, it was the people. The family, you know? Something like that. You go for a date and it's like, okay, we're going to have this over dinner. Perfect. You know, but of course you want to put an upper limit on it. Right now, in most cases, 1 or 2 is perfectly fine.
भाई आपकी tagline होनी चाहिए FTF, being real, because you like, I mean, I think that makes you different, yaar. You should naturally hold these opinions publicly because majority जनता शायद आपसे disagree करे in the sense कि यार कि तू पहले fitness का भी मेरे को ज्ञान दे रहा है, अब तू कह रहा है कि कोई नहीं बाहर भी खा ले कभी कभी, but सही है. I think that's the personal brand, and that's the personality to it. That's the personality to
Precisely.
it. Precisely. Chalo. भाई I think it was as engaging as always, and being
it,
real रखेंगे हम अगले podcast का नाम हम जब भी करेंगे, क्योंकि you're offering truth with your perspective, which I really appreciate, and I take that individually myself, that कल को मेरे को कुछ बात करनी होगी तो I have precedent कि यार he's running a fitness business as well, but he's being honest about what people should know, right? So I really appreciate that, and I hope all of you like this conversation. Of course you've liked it if you've stayed till here, otherwise you must have dropped off way before. And yeah, thank you for being here. We love you guys, as we mentioned the last time, and we'll meet bro sometime soon. Till then, see ya.
Perfect. Thanks for having me, bro. Take care.